episode of The Wealthy Boss Show. I'm here coming at you today with easy ways to improve your immune system. So if you're listening to this live or shortly after it gets released as a podcast episode, then you know that we are about to head into flu season, and a season that most of us tend to typically get sick and get colds. So I thought before we get too caught up in the midst of the germs and everything that's about to be thrown at us on top of the holidays, which is never a good time to be sick, I would jump in here and share with you some practical strategies for really boosting your body's natural defenses against illness, particularly those types of seasonal winter colds that we can tend to pick up. First of all, I will say I am not a doctor. It is not my place to tell you whether or not to get a flu shot. So I know flu shots are an incredibly controversial topic. I totally get that. And it was really not within my scope of practice to be able to advise you to do that one way or another. However, I think the more important question we should be asking before we even ask whether or not to get a flu shot is, what can I be doing all the time to naturally fortify my resistance to getting sick? There are a lot of things that we can do to really make sure that our immune system is humming at its best. And anecdotally, I practice most of these things myself on a regular basis. And I almost never get sick, even though I'm super, super busy. I honestly have more stress in my life than I'd like to admit. And I'm around people all day long, lots and lots and lots of people. So I know that these strategies have worked for me, and scientifically, I know that they are going to work for you as well. So I have a ton of strategies. There are so many things that are interconnected to how our body's immune system functions that I really had to narrow it down. I had to just pick some of what I consider to be the easiest to implement and are really going to be sustainable so that you can work those into your routine, keeping you from getting couched through, maybe the end your quarter four business goals that you don't have time to be sick from, and also to make sure that you are being able to enjoy the holidays and that time off and that downtime with your family as healthfully and fully present as possible. So let's just go ahead and jump right in. Now, most of what I'm sharing with you today has to do with ways that we can naturally boost the function and health of our lymphatic system. So our lymphatic system is very similar to the body's bloodstream circulatory system, and it is largely responsible for many of your body's immune function, kind of first line of defense. So it's an important part. It maintains fluid levels, it fights infections, and it produces disease-fighting white blood cells. So you've probably heard of T cells before. So there's one type of blood cells that are contained in lymphocytes. Now, your lymphatic system has a few parts to it. So your lymphatic system has vessels which transmit the lymphatic fluid into your lymphatic nodes, which are then going to filter and detoxify your body. There are some particular organs in your body that are an important component of the lymphatic system as well. I won't get too deeply into those because that doesn't really change what we need to do to take care of them. So I'll just get on with the good stuff. But most of us don't realize that our lymphatic system actually needs a little bit of help and encouragement from us to really function at its best. So the lymphatic system, even though it has vessels, it has fluid, just like the blood that runs through our veins, it does not have a pump like the heart to keep it circulating, on autopilot. So what that means is the lymphatic system circulates through the body with a one-way valve. And to move the lymph throughout your body, we actually have to practice a few things to make sure that we are physically moving it at a prime optimal pace. So with that being said, that we need physical activity to move the lymph around in our system. So it's basically like we have to manually move this whole system around in our body because it doesn't have a pump. Now, in millennia past, this was never an issue because we were active. We had to stay active as human beings to stay alive. This day, not so much, at least not immediately, right? But we do know that when we are not physically active, that bad things can happen with that lymphatic system. So when that happens, lymphatic fluid can become congested, it can become very thick, and just like a swamp compared to a nice flowing river or spring, it can really tend to back up with those toxins. So being sure that first we have some physical activity in our day, even if it's light, just light walking or light activity at any rate, is going to make sure that we are physically moving the lymphatic fluid around in the vessels to make sure that they push all that lymphatic fluid into the lymphatic nodes, that it gets filtered, and that it gets sent to the body's garbage disposal, i.e. eliminated through things like sweat and urine, to make sure that we are not holding on to any type of chemicals that we don't need in our body, any type of metabolic waste products. So our lymph nodes also abolish bacteria and foreign substances in the lymphatic fluid. So physical activity is your first way to make sure that your rivers are flowing when it comes to your lymphatic system. You don't have to overdo it. In fact, if you have ever competed in like an endurance race, you may know that super intense over exercise may actually set you up for increased risk of immune failure. So, of course, as with anything in our health, there are some points of diminished returns. There is a sweet spot, but just gently moving throughout the day and making sure that that doesn't just mean your one workout of the day, but getting up and moving throughout your workday, even if it's just a few minutes each hour, will really help keep that fluid moving where it needs to go. Your second action step is to swap as many chemical-laced products with natural ones as possible. So when the body has to filter too many toxins out at once, of course that can become an overload. It can back up within the system. And we are exposed these days to so many toxins that we weren't exposed to, 50 years ago, 100 years ago, 1,000 years ago, that we're just now really starting to discover the long-term effects of those type of toxins in our environment. Not every toxin in our environment can be controlled. We can't necessarily control the climate of the part of the country that we live in. We can't control a lot of things outside our influence, but we can control the types of and the amount of chemicals that we are exposed to within our own home, within the products that we use in our body, within the cleaning products that we use, our shower and makeup and beauty and hygiene products. You really want to be looking for products that don't contain artificial perfumes, that are free of some of the worst offenders like phthalates and of course BPA and formaldehyde. And we have different episodes dedicated to making sure that you are free from chemical toxicity. And of course, that's a big piece of what I also teach in the Boss Body System, because not only do chemicals make you sick, they also, unfortunately, can make you overweight. So if not getting sick isn't enough of a motivation for you to start to replace some of the personal products that you use with more naturally based ones that are free of a lot of those bad boy chemicals, hey, appeal to your inner sense of vanity and recognize that your metabolism is not going to be functioning properly either when you are taking in more of a chemical overload than your body can handle. So swap for chemicals, for chemical-free products. Honest products are usually pretty pretty eco-friendly, environmentally friendly options that are going to be easy and gentle on your body. There are others as well. My Boss Body System, I actually list out every single product that I use and where I get it from because I've tried a lot. So if you are a member of my Boss Body System, which is the upgraded exclusive course that I open up registration to a couple of times a year on making sure that you are functioning and a body that looks and feels the way you want it to, then make sure and check out that module because it is there. And if you're not currently a Boss Body member, know that that's on the horizon. We'll be offering that again, probably sometime in the future, maybe near future, depending on when you're listening to this. Okay, my next step for you, we talked about physical activity. We talked about switching out the chemicals that you're exposed to on a daily basis that are within your control. This one might surprise you, and this one is get upside down. What? Okay, so we spend most of our days either upright or at night we might be horizontal. We don't spend a lot of time upside down. And that might be doing us a little bit of a disservice when it comes to the lymphatic flow of our system, especially because we do spend so little time in physical activity. So what happens when we get into any type of posture or shape where our legs are higher than our heart, that's actually going to be a very natural and functional way to reverse the circulatory system in our body, which is great anyway for reversing the flow of blood. It can really be energizing, but it's also going to make sure that you're really circulating that lymph because again, the lymphatic system does not have a pump. So physically getting your body upside down is going to make sure that that lymphatic fluid is going where it needs to go and making sure that it's getting to all areas of your body. So that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to do crazy yoga handstands or arm balances. A simple way to do this is just to have your legs up the wall. Just lift your legs up to the sky, rest them against a wall. You can take your hips as close to the wall as is comfortable and just have your legs elevated. You could even just have your legs elevated, if you're laying down up on a pillow, something that you might think of if you've ever maybe hurt an ankle or hurt something or maybe pulled a muscle and you've heard that elevation can tend to de-swell it. Well, any type of thing that you might do to prop those legs up in that type of circumstance will also totally fill the bill in helping stimulate that flow of lymphatic fluid. And the nice thing about this is you don't have to do it for hours and hours at a time. Hey, take a quick work break, prop your legs up along the wall or just prop them up on a pillow as you lay flat. And you not only will be doing your immune system a favor within just a few minutes, but inversions also tend to be very energizing, make you feel a little bit more clear-headed once you get up from them. Just, of course, be careful not to come up too slowly from them since you did also reverse the flow of blood to your head. All right, so another natural way to stimulate that lymphatic fluid is breathing deeply. So deep breathing also encourages the flow of lymphatic fluid, You're actually creating that action and movement in your body that's so essential for good health and so many other components of our good health other than our immune system. So this not only decongests lymphatic fluid, so lymphatic fluid, of course, we want to make sure that it's moving around in our body, which is what the physical activity and the inversions can help accomplish. We also want to make sure that we are soothing our nervous system because stress can also contribute to lymphatic backup, meaning that the lymphatic fluid itself can become kind of congested and not super viscous or effective. So deep breathing has a double whammy in that it actually encourages that circulation of lymphatic fluid, but it's also soothing the nervous system, which combats stress, and can be a trigger to proper lymphatic function. So a couple of practical solutions for deep breathing if you want to try something other than just taking a deep breath in and a deep breath out and maybe counting that, is you can try square breathing. This is something that I will bring into my yoga classes sometimes, where you breathe in for a count of 4, hold the breath for a count of 4, Breathe out for a count of 4, and then again, hold the breath for a count of 4. And then repeat that. And over time, as your lung function and your lung volume actually improves, you can try holding that for maybe 6 counts or 8 counts. Just try not to do this one when you're driving, since it can make you a touch lightheaded. Another option for deep breathing exercise, just for something different, if you want something that will kind of help anchor your mind a little bit too, which can be really nice when your mind has just a little bit of a task associated with it in these relaxation exercises that we do. Sometimes it does a little bit better with not wandering off if you're having to say count or think about what you're doing. Alternate nostril breathing sounds super weird, and it looks super weird too. And I wasn't even going to demonstrate it, but if you happen to be watching the video version of this that we record on Facebook and then post on YouTube, I guess I will go ahead and show it if you want the visual. A little word of warning, you probably don't want to do this in public, because from afar, it can totally look like you're picking your nose. So I just sure hope that someone doesn't start watching this video in the middle of me doing this exercise and not know what it is. So just promise me, if you watch the video version of this, if you're listening to the podcast and you watch the video, promise me, you're not going to think that I'm picking my nose. So what you do is you're going to want to cover one nostril, kind of cover it up with your finger. You're going to breathe in. Sorry, you're going to breathe out. You're going to breathe in. And then you're actually going to take your opposite finger, cover your opposite nostril, breathe out, and breathe in. So if you can hear, I'm kind of plugged up a little bit, because it's like you're plugging up one side of your nose as if you were about to dive in and take a swim underwater. And when you repeat that over and over, it actually has an incredibly soothing effect to the nervous system. It's especially known for being able to help calm you and put you to sleep at night. So if you ever are struggling a little bit with insomnia, you can try that as well, which is perfect because the lights are going to be off. No one's going to be looking at you. Sticking your finger, it's not up your nose, it's on your nose. Okay, let's just get that part clear. Okay, the things I do for you because I love you, right? So these are just a few different options of deep breathing exercises beyond just simply slowing down. Again, the mind tends to do a little bit better sometimes when it has a little bit of a task, a little bit of instruction associated with it that can really help with the stress release part of it as well. Moving right along, our next tip and strategy to try is to stay hydrated. So I mentioned earlier that it's important not just to keep the lymphatic fluid moving throughout the body with as little barriers as possible, but that it's actually thin enough and diluted enough to move and flow effectively. So it's just like, not backing something up in a swamp. You think of like a real concentrated amount of gook for a little amount of water, right? For lack of a better word, gook, I'm sure, is a scientific term, I'm positive, but you get the idea. So think of your body without water like that swamp. There's a whole bunch of gook that the body has to get rid of. And if you're not properly hydrated, it becomes all thick and icky and goozy and ooey. And have I grossed you out yet? I kind of hope so, because I want you to have that visual of your body looking that way and feeling that way on the inside when you're not properly drinking clean water. So make sure that you have plenty of clean water in your system so that your inside, your lymphatic vessels more closely resemble a flowing, clean, pure river as opposed to that thick, sludgy swamp. All right, I bet you're reaching for a glass of water as we speak. I sure hope so. Another kind of weird one that we can try, but that can totally be helpful and does not take extra time, is taking contrast showers. I have to confess, I don't do this one because I hate cold water. I hate being cold. But if you don't mind cold water, this can be a really effective way to boost your immune system as well as some other functions of health within the body. And again, it's super simple. It does not take extra time. It does not take extra money. All that is involved is turning and alternating the water in a shower from hot to cold to hot to cold. That movement back and forth in and of itself can act like a pump, which can help stimulate the lymphatic system and really refresh and awaken your state of being. Another way to do this, if you have access to a pool and a hot tub, is to alternate time spent in a pool and a hot tub about equal increments. Crazy, weird, but true. And again, doesn't take any extra time, which is what we're going for. Your next action step is to incorporate more citrus throughout the winter months, or any months that you tend to have more of a proneness to get sick. Now, we all know that vitamin C is something that we tend to pop. We might pop a vitamin C chew or supplement. I would love to see you preventing first with food. And the thing about vitamin C is it really doesn't do much good once we're already sick. So by the time we're popping those vitamin C gummies, which have God knows what else in them, it's really, really too late to fortify our body's natural defenses clinically. We know from studies and research that it's really most effective when it's taken preventatively. Now, the good news is to try to get our 1 to 3 servings of citrus a day, which is what's recommended for making sure that we are preventing ourselves from getting sick, is we can take that in through juice. So you can add lemon juice to your water. That can count as a serving. You're still going to be able to absorb those good nutrients. And not only vitamin C, that we tend to think of and equate citrus fruit with in terms of its efficacy of keeping us free from being sick, but it also has important digestive enzymes, and our digestion is also incredibly critical for keeping us free of sickness. So a lot of our immune system is actually found, most of our immune system actually is found in our gut. So anything that we can do to aid with proper digestion and gut health is going to also give us that double whammy of being more resistant to any type of disease or infection or cold or germs that may be coming our way. So eat more citrus or drink more citrus. I don't recommend drinking like a lot of orange juice because that tends to have too high concentrations of sugar. But if you can squeeze like lime juice or lemon juice into, either what you're drinking, or use it as, say, I love mixing olive oil and either lemon juice or lime juice and making that my salad dressing, add a little salt and pepper, you're good, call it a day. I've also been putting lime juice in my smoothies. So that's a nice way. I'll do like a green smoothie and even add a little bit of green tea and some mint and lime juice. And it tastes really good. And then I add some, good protein in there as well. So find some creative ways to add more vitamin C into your day, even if that means drinking more vitamin C, but preferably just straight from the juice itself that you squeezed and not concentrated, not like drinking an 8-ounce glass of orange juice. 3 more. I just have so many good things. I had to really narrow them down. We could go on and on, but I have 3 more that I want to share with you. Meditation. We did discuss how deep breathing in particular can have not only a soothing effect, but also encourage that lymphatic flow within your body system. But anything that we can do to control stress and manage our stress loads is going to keep us free as much as possible from overloading on inflammation. So whenever the body's inflamed, of course, it's more likely to go into overdrive and be less resistant to stress if it's constantly, or less resistant to illness, if it's constantly overexcited. So whatever we can do to manage our stress will definitely help to manage our illness levels, which has such a virtuous cycle, because if we get sick and then we're sick because we're stressed, but then we miss work, then that makes us more stressed, and it's this awful vicious cycle. So those moments that we can spend investing into our mental health will have that wonderful payback in our bodies, and then hopefully keep us free from that exacerbated vicious cycle of stress and illness. Another weird one I'm throwing at you, where I'm really kind of bringing these to you in no particular order, because there are just so many weird, cool things that we can do that don't take much time to help improve our natural defenses, is Warming spices. So add more spices to your food or your coffee or your drinks or your smoothies that have a warming effect. So some examples of these are cayenne pepper, ginger, turmeric. What else am I missing? Cardamom, if you like spiced chai or more foreign foods. Any type of these spices that have a warming effect also have an effect on your immune system. And weird as it may sound, cinnamon, that's a good one. As weird as it may sound, it's actually going to help bolster you against getting sick. And it's super easy. Throw some cinnamon in your coffee, add some ginger to your shake, throw some turmeric into your soups. Easy peasy ways that we can help our body function at its best. Now, the final one may take a little bit of extra time, but if you can invest in a massage every now and then, there are a million reasons to do so, and your immune system is just one more of those reasons. Immune function drastically improves when we are getting massages, and we don't even have to get them all the time. In fact, the Cedars-Sinai Medical Center research actually showed that even one massage has a measurable impact on immune function. And it does this by decreasing that stress hormone, cortisol, that we spoke about earlier, and also increasing those lymphocytes, which are your body's natural fighters, those T cells and B cells that are keeping you free of disease. They're fighting the good fight. They are filtering and attacking those foreign bacteria and foreign cells and chemicals and toxins that make it their way into your system that need to just be shown the door out. Whew, we have gotten through so many tips. Now, I just want to highlight a quick recap for you because we got through so much on ways you can primarily stimulate and make sure that your lymphatic system and fluid is flowing, both flowing completely through your body as well as flowing freely. So those action steps were: 1, gentle physical activity on not only a daily basis, but throughout the day. Next, we talked about swapping your chemical products for natural-based options. This includes things like soaps and shampoos and detergents and your candles and perfumes. We talked about how getting upside down, and maybe this just means propping your legs up on a pillow or even taking them up against the wall as you're lying down on the ground, can have an incredible spike to your body's natural lymphatic flow, keeping you free from a sickness. We discussed deep breathing exercises that will also encourage the stimulation of lymphatic fluid as well as soothe your nervous system, because whatever we can do for stress will help reduce our chances of getting sick. We talked about staying properly hydrated to really make sure that lymphatic fluid is flowing like a river instead of getting backed up like a swamp. We discussed, weird but true, how alternating between hot and cold water in the shower, or maybe dipping between pool and hot tub, if you say maybe have one at your local gym or community center, can do a lot to boost your body's natural immune system. We discussed ways to include more citrus throughout our day on a preventive basis, because we really want to make sure that we're getting ahead of this, since vitamin C doesn't tend to do a whole lot of good once we're already sick. And it totally counts to add lemon juice to your water, lime juice to your salad dressing, or either of these things to your smoothie to try to get 1 to 3 servings a day. Now, meditation is going to go a super long way in any aspect of our health. Let's just say that, but our immune system is certainly one of them. Adding warming spices like ginger, turmeric, cinnamon, cardamom to our foods and our drinks, or even our coffee, is actually going to give us another leg up in our body's natural defenses. And it's so super easy to do. And then our last action step was see if we can't make time for at least a massage or 2 over the winter season. There are so many good reasons to do that. Most of all, just because we're worth it. We want to make sure that we're taking time for ourselves to relax and to be and to disassociate ourselves only from productivity. But hey, if productivity and showing up with your A game in your business is your primary excuse for going and getting that done because it's going to keep you healthy throughout the holiday season, then hey, if you need an excuse, there's one to go do it. You are worth investing in. When you take care of your health, that is going to give you such a leg up in your business. You're going to function at your best. You're going to keep yourself from being couched with disease and brain fog and burnout and exhaustion and fatigue. So I'm going to keep showing up to deliver these strategies that are easy to apply, and they're going to help you in all those other areas of life that are important to you. If you are not yet part of the Wealthy Boss community, I invite you to join in. And this is a free Facebook group. We show up there daily for discussion threads, for encouragement, for challenges, for questions and answers and tips and ideas on how to show up and try to live a healthier lifestyle, even as busy entrepreneurs who have a million other things going on. We share the same goals. We also share the same challenges and unique lifestyle contributors that can sometimes put the tendency and the temptation there in front of us to focus only on our businesses to the detriment of our own self-care. So in this group, we remind each other that these things really can work together to better show up in all areas of our lives. So if you're not yet part of the Wealthy Boss community, please head on over to wealthybosscommunity.com and request your acceptance into that group. Of course, you know we're going to approve you. And Wealthy Boss, again, is spelled W-E-L-L, so wealthyboss.com. And I also hope that you will join in next week for my next episode, which is going to be all about body positivity. I have a special guest that I'm bringing on, a fashion expert and just an amazing rock star entrepreneur that I can't wait. Her name is Crystal Coons, so be sure to check out that episode next week. And I hopefully will be talking to you between now and then within the Wealthy Boss group. Take care for now.